I wonder what Texas Hold'em tournament I'm gonna fire today. What about this $300 one? Wait a minute. A PLO $300 tournament? Well, I'm not very good at PLO, but I can't back down now. That leaves us one option. Bang! We flop top two in a three-way pot. We're gonna check it to the other two players, hoping to come in with a massive check raise. Unfortunately, they both check it back, and we see possibly the worst turn card of all time. But our hand still has some fun properties. We have a boat wrap, coming in with a 9, queen, or king giving us a boat, and we block the nut flush. So when we see this opponent go for the measly 1/3, we're not going anywhere. Now when the river brings in the 4 of clubs, we solemnly check it over, expecting to lose. But he checks it back, and we take down the 16 big blind pot to give us some momentum. For this next hand, we're going to cover our hold cards. But let's be honest, you know exactly what I'm holding. After a raise from our opponent, and a call from us on the button, we're going to go off to a flop of King 10-3 Rainbow. And Banana Tilt has one option on his mind, and that's to stick his chips in.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
What? Whoa, slow down there, Henry. It's not all sunshine and rainbows in a PLO tournament, and you gotta lock in, because we got aces. This man Never Lucky thinks he can push us around, and that's not gonna happen this time, because we decide to bump it up. All in. And I'll tell you what, this dude thought forever. And when I mean forever, I mean forever. But he comes to face his demise and realize he cannot fold. And we show him the bad news. But you know what they say, you can't run hot forever. As we see the deuce 9 flop and the turn sealing our fate to quads, with the king on the river, just for an extra punch in the gut. But wait a minute, we still have 23 big blinds. And that's enough for me to think we still got a shot at this thing. So we begin our crawl back to victory with this small donk flop bluff that takes forever, but it's gonna get through. Critically thinking, I might have got a bad beat, but I'm back to critically thinking. You know, I've had a few bad beats in my lifetime, but you know what? I think it's my turn to start handing out these bad beats. As I pick up aces on the button. And yeah, I'm lit in this bitch right now. And we're gonna do the only thing we can do with aces and bump it up to 2.5 big blinds. After the small blind folds, our opponent puts in the 3-bet to 9 big blinds, which leaves us with one option. With 11 people remaining in our life on the line, we decide to ship our stack into the middle. And our opponent calls, and he shows the monster of a hand, king, queen, 4 double suited. But remember, this isn't Texas Hold'em. With aces, we still only have 63% equity. But none of that matters. Bang! We flop top set and get a clean run out to take down this 42 big blind pot. A few minutes go by and we find ourselves in the big blind getting a nice price to see a flop. And bang! We flop top 2. And we decide to just get the money in now versus the short stack. And we're a 3-1 favorite on the turn versus aces. We just need to fade a few bad rivers. Oh my god, it's so brutal. This game is so brutal. This game is so brutal. Well, enough bitching and moaning, Henry. Because we're all in for a small chunk of our stack. And a huge flip, and we flop a king. And the runout's clean, and we pick up a nice 12 big blinds. After a 5-minute player's break, our prayer to the poker gods is answered. And they give us aces on the big blind. As we see our opponent on the button, open it up. And there's one thing to do. Let's get our stacks in. Our opponent takes a few seconds to realize his fate. And he knows what he's up against. But in the end, he sticks in the call. And we're 70% favorite. And there's a queen on the flop. And we are looking for a single ace on the river, and it does not deliver. And we lose a big piece of our stack. Well, you win some, you lose some, right? Well, guess what? I don't feel like losing this next one, as we're all in with 996 deuce versus the big blind. And after this turn, we have to fade essentially every single card in the deck. And that's what we do. And we take down this 18 big blind pot in a huge final stage of this tournament. After chipping up nicely in a couple small pots, we find ourselves at the final table of this tournament with a comfortable 22 big blinds in our stack. After a few minutes go by at the final table, we pick up the nut straight on the turn in this interesting spot when the flush comes in as well. And we think about it for a moment, and we decide donking is the best option in this spot. I think it's still a donk. Is that crazy? The flush comes in, we just put a donkey donk in there? To be honest, man, I had no idea what to do in this spot. Pilo's weird as hell. I just wanted him to fold. And that's what he does after a long tank, and we take down this nice 11 big blind pot. A few minutes go by and we pick up jiggities in the big blind and bump up the price of poker to 4 big blinds, and we see our opponent put in the call. And you already know what's coming on the flop. And then all of a sudden the money's flying into the middle, and we see we're ahead versus a flush draw and a gutter. And we find the hold by the river, securing us a lock for a $3,500 payout. But knocking out one person isn't enough. We're coming for them all, as we pick up kings and see our opponent blasting chips into our face. And we have no other option but to stick our entire stack into the middle. And our opponent calls and shows 10, 10, 9, 9. And off to a run out where we see a clean flop, a clean turn, and a clean river to take down this 15 big blind pot and eliminate an opponent, securing at least a 3rd place finish. But our thirst for blood doesn't stop here, as we pick up king, queen, jack, 9 on the button, as we decide to bump up the price of poker. And we flop top pair, but on an 8-8 jack board. And let me tell you what, this was the hardest decision I've probably ever made in my entire life. I think I sat here for my entire time bank, and I would have used maybe 3 minutes if I had it. I was a little confused how strong my gutter was, and if this was ever a bluff at any frequency. Anyways, I tanked here forever. Eventually, I decided to stick in the call, and as you can see, we're a 3-1 dog versus ace jack, and we're gonna need some help. And boy, do we find help on the river, giving us a better 2 pair versus his ace jack, scooping in this 19 big blind pot and eliminating a player, locking up at least an $8,500 prize. And let me tell you what, after we eliminated that last dude, we left no doubt who the better player was at this table. I didn't allow this dude to win one single pot for the rest of the game, leading us up to this final hand of the tournament. And no editing needed for this last hand. Roll the tape. But when it gets like 14 big blinds, then the 3-bet gets really stinky. Open ender and top pair, this is insane. I'm probably just gonna pot it still. Oh, 3, I think half pot's better, dude. I need a 6 to call. If I pot, a 6 might fold. And then if he jams, I call. Oh, I have 2 pair. I'm actually a donkey. It's too late. Oh my gosh, we're just getting it in with 2 pair. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
Wait, you actually want to tournament?